So I finally got the Sony A7C II, and what better way to test it than by taking it to a trip to Japan. This was the perfect opportunity to see how good the camera is. With its small form factor, combined with its powerful performance, this is what makes a perfect travel camera. So here's what I've captured. Dajiahao, kumusta? My name is Victor, and today's video I want to talk about this camera right here. We finally got the Sony A7C II in our possession. I wanted it to be my main travel camera, and I've taken this 2 trips already. I've taken it to Barcelona for the MWC 2024 with Oppo. Most of the shots, most of the videos, the B-rolls were shot with this and with the 24mm G lens. And my recent visit again to Japan, me and my girlfriend went to Kyushu, which is the southern side of Japan. And that's what you saw in the intro, is all shot with this. Now I've gotten the 50mm as well, but I just got this last week. I haven't traveled. I've been just doing client work in the past week. So I'm not going to cover specs. Well, maybe just a little bit, but I just want to talk about my experiences so far during travels and just like social media content, even just like, day-to-day photos and like just taking this with me everywhere and, taking photos and videos. So let's get started. When this got leaked, I made a video about me selling the A7 IV for a camera that doesn't exist yet. And then this was the camera. This is a mini A7 IV. Just look at that, like less custom buttons, smaller grip. The EVF is on the side now, similar to their APS-C line. It's perfect for travels. I can just put this in my 3-liter Peak Design travel bag, sling bag, and still have space for my phone, keys, and maybe a power bank. But prior to that, I was still rocking the Peak Design 3-liter sling, and I was using the A7 IV, and it would take up all the space. It's tiny. Like, this is a very small setup. I would have gotten the ZV-E1, but I don't know. It's just I was missing, like, I wanted something for photo and video, and I also wanted something to crop, and this has a 33 megapixel sensor. This is what I was looking for. Again, I just wanted the Sony A7 IV back in my hands, and this did deliver. In terms of the comparison of the sizing between the Sony a6700 and the Sony A7C II, it's practically very similar. This is actually slightly heavier than the a6700. It's because of just the internals and stuff. But the Sony a6700 has a bigger grip. This is tiny. But I have Asian hands, so like my hands are very small and I can comfortably grip this. And the A6700 is really good for travels as well. I've proven that the A6700 can do pro work, can do travels, can do low light. The new APS-C now, even like the newer cameras nowadays, like it can do a lot of things. So this is definitely just a want, not a need in terms of performance. All right, speaking of performance, let's talk about how this is in terms of photo and video. Well, again, this is the Sony A7 IV and a tiny body, and I enjoy it. I really needed something to take, something small that can do video and photo at the same time. I wanted to get the X-T5 actually because of just the retro feel, and it's got 10-bit video, but I figured it's going to be very similar performance with my A6700. Now, I, again, wanted full frame. I was actually looking into the Leica Q3, but it was just out of my price range, especially for a fun camera. So I opted in for this guy. And another reason is that I can trust this a little bit more on low light. This one has a higher second base ISO and it's more sensitive to light since it's full frame. So I just wanted that. I wanted to get, you know, better low light performance. I wanted to get like an all-arounder just for travels and, you know, run and gun situations, and just a true workhorse in terms of like photo and video. It's easier to travel with an APS-C camera anyways because you get more selections in terms of smaller lenses. Let's say a 75mm will only be like this big, and if you go with other full frame glass, it's going to be like massive, because it needs to cover the sensor, right? I mean, you can use APS-C lenses here as well, you just need to crop. But what's the point of buying full frame if you're not gonna use the full sensor? And this is why I opted in for the 24mm G lens and also the 50. These two will be my travel companions in terms of my next few trips. Another thing about the performance, video-wise, it's great. It reminds me of just the A7 IV. I mean, it's beautiful. If you've seen the intro, I've shown a lot of B-roll already in this video, and you decide if it looks good or not. I can push the colors. I can really get my exposure better than a Super 35. Now, mind you, if you know how to expose on Super 35, you're going to get very similar results on this one. I just find full frame is a little bit better in terms of versatility or flexibility. I can overexpose a little bit on this one and still get a great result. I can underexpose, still get great results. But with the APS-C sensors, let's just say full frame is this, and then the APS-C sensor is this. I don't know, it's very tiny. I just wanted some more flexibility in post. So I can just film without really thinking about, am I exposing right or not? It's just a peace of mind when I'm traveling, because I want to really, really enjoy the experience first, and then just have the, you know, video taking, photo taking as a secondary priority when I'm traveling. If you are going to get a hybrid camera for production work, this can handle it as well. I think this is going to be a decent workhorse, but I would suggest getting the Sony A7 IV, especially for lengthy shoots. You're gonna want that grip to be bigger and the EVF on top so that it's more comfortable. I'm not saying that this EVF is bad. I'm not saying that the grip is too small. It's just, it's a tool for different jobs, but if you absolutely have to use this for production work, it can handle it for you. Some pros for production work that other cameras won't be able to do unless you have a tiny body. Well, for lightweight rigging, let's say you want to put this on a car mount, on a bike, whatever, this is super light. This form factor right here, 24mm is wide enough. And I think Viltrox has a similar size lens, 2.8, 20mm, and that's even wider than this, so you'll get more reach, especially for those POV shots. This camera is light enough to do everything that you need, and that you can rig it easily on cars, on drones, or whatever it is that you want. Like, it's great for lightweight rigging. And also, if you want to rock a lightweight gimbal, let's say the June Crane M3, with this setup, you can fly by. It's a very tiny setup, and I think you can get some cinematic shots or really stable shots, really, you know, dynamic movements with this setup. I love it. It's one of my favorite cameras of all time. And again, this is a mini A7 IV. I've been missing my A7 IV, and this, you know, filled the hole in my heart that the A7 IV left. Also, I'm not sure if I'm gonna make specific A7C II content, because most of my tutorials with the A7 IV would directly apply to this camera. But let me know if you have anything in mind, and I'll see what I can come up with. Anyways, I have some travels coming up, and I will be taking this guy. If you have any questions about this camera, let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.